我81年的。
I was born in 1981, so I'm 44 years old this year. I'm not married and don't have children. Life is just an experience. Each of us is nothing more than a speck of dust in this vast universe. Don't think too highly of yourself and don't live by the opinions of others. Don't let their words affect your mood. If there's something you want to experience, go for it. If there's something you don't want to experience, then don't. Life is just a few short decades. How many people actually get to live according to their own wishes? I feel fortunate, at least I'm living the way I want to. That's my current reality. Don't say that older single women are at fault. Older single women and gold diggers are two completely different things, no problem there. Older single women are older single women because certain things in their lives delayed them, leading to their current marital situation. But gold diggers are out to scam, using relationships and marriage as a means to cheat men out of their money. Of course, I also acknowledge that many men have been deceived by some women to the point where they develop a fear of marriage. So, I hope everyone can avoid creating conflict between men and women. Instead, let's uphold justice and promote positivity on our platforms, okay? Everything I've said today, please don't maliciously edit it. We are all about positive energy and a positive society here, okay? So, I think, for me personally, of course, I also hope all you young ladies, after you've achieved success in your studies, don't become too picky, don't aim unrealistically high, and don't try to have it all. In the end, you'll only be delaying yourselves. So, if you meet someone who's a good match and things feel right, you should consider settling down earlier. I believe our lives are meant to be enjoyed, not to harm ourselves. So, I think you should live in the present and not let age define your youth. A 38-year-old woman still has her own youth and her own life. I may not be married now, but I feel like I'm living very well. Of course, I hope that one day if I meet my Prince Charming, I'll also have a happy marriage. Naturally, this is also my parents' greatest wish for me, even though they can't sleep well at night worrying about it. If I ever get married, I'll come to Wansong Academy, holding my marriage certificate, and give a shout out to every single one of you filming me right now. I'll send you all good vibes and I hope you all have a wonderful life, okay? So, don't let me get too emotional, everyone.
问你们男生一个问题。
You guys have this issue. If you had to choose right now, would you marry a wealthy 38-year-old woman with a monthly salary of $50,000 or a beautiful 23-year-old girl who only earns $3,000 to $4,000 a month? Actually, I've asked some friends around me, and their answers really surprised me. In my opinion, I thought a wealthy older woman would be more attractive and they might choose her. But one of my friends told me he'd rather marry the 23-year-old beautiful girl. So, tell me, why would you choose the 23-year-old? If it were you, what would you choose? Leave your comments below.
一滴精死滴血，男人
One drop of semen is worth 10 drops of blood. Men must conserve it wisely. Because out of 10 women, 9 are lustful, including myself. A woman's desires can far exceed a man's. Research shows that only 20% of men can satisfy these women's needs. So, men, you must control your desires, especially physical ones. Don't indulge them recklessly. Men, you must understand, your essence is your life. Preserving it is like preserving your life. The Yellow Emperor's classic of medicine long ago stated, 1 drop of semen equals 10 drops of blood. The more you expend, the sooner you die. In fact, what you lose is your marrow and brain essence, your very life force. Lose it all and you'll die. Your genes will vanish from this world, turning to mud or dust. So, men who don't want to die young, you must restrain yourselves. Otherwise, those insatiable women will drain you dry in no time. Heaven has 3 treasures, the sun, moon, and stars. Man has 3 treasures, essence, energy, and spirit. Men, you must stand firm in your principles. Never give in just because a woman demands it. Otherwise, your essence, energy, and spirit will deteriorate. And without those, how can you build a career? Forget making money, you won't even manage a decent career. Without your fundamental capital, your health, you can't even reproduce. You'll end up like a baboon. So, men, your vitality isn't for reckless indulgence. It's for building your future, not for pleasuring women. If you endlessly satisfy them, you'll die young, drained, exhausted, and spent. You must control your desires. A single, independent man can master them. But if you're with a highly lustful woman, she'll corrode you, body, mind, and soul. A woman's desire is a bottomless pit. She doesn't consider consequences. She only cares about her own pleasure, even if it ruins you. Men, you can't afford this. You have careers, responsibilities, futures, families, and parents. You must firmly restrain your desires. Don't throw your life away for fleeting pleasure, especially not the lowly, trivial kind. True fulfillment comes from purity of body, mind, and spirit. A career is a man's foundation. Are you still fooling around out there? If you've been wasting your energy, it's time to wake up and rebuild.
我1989年出生。
I was born in 1989, so I'm 36 years old this year. I'm unmarried, have never had children, and don't even have a partner. I've been single all this time. My daily life basically consists of going to work and coming home. I'm not afraid to admit it, but my social circle is practically non-existent now. After work, I have no friends, no close girlfriends. Wherever I go, I'm always alone. Over the past few years, the loneliness has grown stronger. I can't even find someone to talk to. Every time I call my parents, the first thing they bring up is pressuring me to get married. After each call, I feel really down, unsure how to live my life going forward. I feel lost. People need companionship, no matter the time. During holidays and New Year, my friends are all at home with their husbands or children, while I can't even find someone to talk to. Some of my married friends say they envy my single life, but honestly, I envy their lively, warm households even more.
我跟所有的32岁
Here's a hard truth for all my sisters over 32 earning more than $200K a year. It's almost impossible to find a single man who's more accomplished than you. Finding someone who's just normal to be with and on your level is already tough enough these days. Unless, of course, you're willing to settle for a guy who makes decent money but is a little off, or maybe one who's divorced but has a stable income. I'm not trying to spread anxiety or talk nonsense here. Any sisters who've been on blind dates should back me up on this. You know what I'm talking about. It's not that these men don't exist, but finding a normal, same-age guy who earns more than you and isn't a walking red flag? Nearly impossible. Most of the good ones? They're already married. And the ones who seem perfect on paper? There's a chance they might not even be into women. And if you do find someone at your level, chances are you'll end up exhausted trying to make it work. So what's my advice? Either date someone at least 3 years younger than you, or stop being so fixated on income. A younger guy might still have room to grow, and at least you'll enjoy the relationship. Let's be real. Settling for someone who's not quite right and makes less than you? Honestly, you're better off staying single. Older leftover women, just stop harming others, okay? You know you don't truly love a decent, honest man. You've even had abortions for playboys, and having a child is out of the question. A domineering CEO wouldn't even glance at you, and you wouldn't marry someone with a low bride price anyway. After marriage, you'd be ready to run at any moment. So why do you keep hurting people? Did someone dig up your ancestors' graves? Aren't you an independent woman? Just focus on making money and then go find some young, attractive guy. Isn't that good enough? You've ruined honest men, leaving them bankrupt and worse off than pigs or dogs. Doesn't your conscience hurt? Aren't you afraid of karma? Parents of older leftover women, control your tattered cotton-padded jackets and stop letting them out to harm people.
坚决不能碰大龄剩。
Absolutely avoid dating older leftover women. Today, I'll break down why. First, let's talk about their advantages. They're obvious. These women are mature, sensible, and not clingy. To put it bluntly, they can read your mind with just a glance. They can hold deep conversations with you, even making you feel like you've met your soulmate. This kind of mature, understanding woman is easy to fall for. You might even feel a strong physical attraction. But the downsides of older leftover women are just too glaring. They're materialistic and selfish. No matter how much money they have, they won't spend a dime on a man. They'll say things like, "I've been hurt before, that's why I'm like this." So you'll have to pay for the mistakes of her past and the youth she's lost. If you get involved with her, you'll be expected to bankroll her entire life. This kind of woman is incredibly selfish, materialistic, and full of herself. Ever since the internet boom in recent years, these leftover women have lost all sense of insecurity. They've been fed so much self-help nonsense that they've turned into delusional old crows. The moment you get close, you'll realize. Age is the least of their problems. Not only will they drive you insane, but they're also childish in behavior and language, all while being extremely arrogant. Older leftover men? At worst, they're just cheap, socially awkward, and bad at conversation. But older leftover women? You can't even imagine the kind of bizarre thinking they might have. Have you ever encountered an older leftover woman? Leave your thoughts in the comments.
资本已经开始放弃中国。
Has capital already begun to abandon Chinese women? Why? Because women are gradually becoming less useful to capital. The reason? Men today are waking up. At this point, some sensitive and fragile women might get angry, but don't assume I'm talking nonsense. Men are already starting to resist. More and more are choosing to stay single and not marry. They're no longer willing to spend money chasing women. Some have outright given up on marriage altogether. And capital at its core is all about making money. The situation now is clear. Smart men have woken up. The era of men being economic providers is over. When men earn money now, they'd rather spend it on themselves, to please themselves. They no longer want to use money to please women. For women, the tools of wealth extraction and social climbing have already begun to rot and be abandoned, because men are no longer willing to play along. Statistics show that since 2021, the number of Chinese men spending over 1,000 renminbi per month has far surpassed that of women. Don't assume men don't spend much in daily life. When they do spend, it's often in big amounts. Hundreds of thousands on a car, 50,000 or 60,000 on a snowboard, tens of thousands on in-game purchases or modifying their cars. They travel the world to ski dive. The truth is, men have never been short on money. They just lowered their standards before in pursuit of women. Now they're rethinking things. They've started to focus on loving themselves, pleasing themselves, and rejecting transactional relationships. So for those women who think they can test a man's sincerity with money, that tactic is starting to fail. Can we just focus on genuine relationships now? Going forward, any chance of squeezing money out of men will likely come down to pure luck.
他说，如果非要我娶大
He said, if I'm forced to marry an older leftover woman, I'd rather stay single for the rest of my life. And then? I asked him why. He then summarized 4 pretty harsh reasons. First, she's had a lot of dating experience but is still single. A 30-year-old woman like this has probably been pursued by at least 10 or 20 men in her eyes, yet she still isn't married. Most likely, this kind of woman is extremely hard to please. Second, she's not young anymore but still acts like a princess. Shouldn't you be more mature at this age? Yet she's still stuck in the fantasy of idol dramas, unable to distinguish between reality and delusion, completely clueless. Third, she claims to be slow to warm up but acts cold as ice. She always demands that the man make unconditional efforts, saying, "I need to see your sincerity." But you have to understand, relationships are a two-way street. Fourth, she's overly controlling. Whatever you do, you have to watch her mood. At that point, you might as well just play video games, binge dramas, or watch live streams. Way more enjoyable, right? So yeah, I'd like to ask everyone in the comments, how do you view this? Feel free to share your honest thoughts in the comments.